This video was made possible by class-central.com/Pakman, where you can find thousands of top-rated college lectures on everything from politics to science to business. Click the link under this video to find out more. Let's talk about one of the most fascinating yet frustrating pseudosciences out there, which has actually seen a huge revival over the past few years. Attempts to prove that the Earth is flat. You have to consider that many of the people making videos arguing that the Earth is flat are probably trolling or maybe even just trying to make money through YouTube ads. But sadly enough, plenty of people believe that the Earth is actually flat. There are records of the ancient Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and Israelites describing the Earth as a flat disk floating in an ocean. Ancient Chinese dynasties believed that the Earth was flat and square. The earliest documented speculations of Earth being spherical date back to Greek philosophy around 6th century BC. But physical evidence wasn't offered until a few centuries later. For instance, Aristotle wrote in 4th century BC that the Earth must be a sphere because of the Earth's curved shadow on the moon and because of the different positions of constellations based on the observer's geographical location. Later, Greek astronomer Eratosthenes concurred, pointing out that during the summer solstice, the sun was in different positions depending on the location of the observer. Many sailors during that time made the same assumption about Earth being a globe based on their observations of the horizon. A spherical Earth eventually became a given in ancient Greek astronomy, and the Roman Empire helped spread the concept all over the globe until it became the adopted view of virtually all major Western astronomical traditions. So it's a myth that Christopher Columbus's voyage to the New World is what first established a spherical Earth. It had already been widely accepted for over 1,000 years. And Earth's sphere shape was first directly demonstrated by Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan in 1519 when he captained the first expedition to circumnavigate the globe. This circumnavigation, combined with trigonometry invented by the Greeks 1,700 years prior, eliminated any ambiguity that the Earth was a sphere. Tiny groups of flat earthers have always existed in certain religious communities, but flat Earth theories have seen a huge resurgence since the dawn of the internet, especially over the last 5 years. The most popular modern theory from flat earthers is that the Earth is a flat, round disk where the North Pole is in the center with the continents around it, and that Antarctica makes up the outside of the disk, which serves as a sort of giant circular ice wall that holds the oceans in place, keeping the water from spilling off the edge. One of the many issues would be that regardless of what shape the Earth is, even if it was a flat disk, gravity would always be pulling objects towards the center of the disk. So as you move towards the outside of the disk, gravity isn't going to be pulling you down towards the ground. It's going to pull you back towards the middle of the disk. So if you were in, say, the southernmost part of South America, maybe in my home country of Argentina, you would start sliding back towards the North Pole. And of course, this is not what happens. But the natural response from many flat earthers is gravity simply isn't real. Many will tell you that the Earth is flying upward through space, and inertia is what pushes objects down towards the Earth and gives the mere illusion of gravity. So gravity would be fake, but inertia would be real. Flat earthers refer to this as universal acceleration, and there's, of course, no physical evidence for it, none even offered on the page about universal acceleration on the Flat Earth Society website. Here's a really simple demonstration of the Earth's curvature. The Verrazano Bridge is a double-decker suspension bridge in New York City, and it connects Staten Island and Brooklyn. Its two towers are 4,260 feet apart, and both towers are completely vertical and straight, and they're perpendicular with the water beneath them. But the two towers are 1.625 inches further away from one another at the top than at the bottom. This could only be explained by Earth's curvature. Here's another simple one. If you're at the beach and you're watching a boat moving away from the shore over the horizon, the bottom of the boat will be the first thing to disappear, and the top of the boat will be the last thing you see before it completely moves to the other side of the horizon. You can also see the curvature of the Earth by simply looking out the window of an airplane. Flat earthers will tell you that there is no actual real photo of the Earth taken from space and that they're merely computer generations. Now, it is true that most pictures that show the entire Earth are composite computer generated images. Different photos of Earth taken from space, which are real, have to be combined to create a full depiction of the entire planet because the Earth is huge and you have to get really, really far away to fit the entire planet in the frame. But there are many photos of Earth that were taken far enough away so as to not require compositing, such as these here, which we're showing you. But flat earthers exploit the fact that some of them are composited to claim that they are all fake or photoshopped, as many of them like to say. And of course, there are plenty of people who have been in space and have seen with their own eyes that the Earth is a globe, and all of those people would have to be liars. Many flat earthers will say that the Earth being a globe is a lie made up to benefit space agencies, and that airlines, engineers, and scientists are somehow able to keep it covered up on a massive scale, which seems truly impossible. This is not a full list of arguments made by flat earthers, and flat earther claims can vary, nor is it a complete list of reasons why the Earth is not flat. There are so many different ways to prove that the Earth is a globe that it's actually difficult to know where to start. And of course, flat earthers tend to have endless fallacious comebacks to most of these scientific claims. It would be way too much to cover in this video, but I do invite you to do your own flat earth conspiracy theory research on YouTube or elsewhere on the internet if you haven't already, and you'll see, number one, how deep the rabbit hole goes. It can be pretty interesting. But of course, you'll see that actual scientists have rebuttals to every flat earth argument. So the next question is, how prevalent is this flat earth stuff, and who is most likely to be fooled by it? Earlier this year, a YouGov poll surveyed about 8,200 American adults about their beliefs on the shape of the Earth. The poll found that 2% of Americans firmly believe the Earth is flat, and it found that flat Earth beliefs decline with age. The younger you are, the more likely you are to believe in flat Earth. 94% of Americans over 55 firmly believe the Earth is round. The most disturbing results were among the youngest age range that was polled, 18 to 24. In this age range, only 66% of respondents say they've always believed the Earth is round. 16 said they weren't sure. 9% said they always thought the Earth was round, but recently started having doubts. 5% said they always thought the Earth was flat, but recently started having doubts. And 4% they have always believed the Earth to be flat. This means, according to this particular study, 1/3 of people aged 18 to 24 are not completely convinced that the Earth is round. But flat earthism being most prevalent among young people shouldn't really be surprising, because the revival of flat earth sentiment is fairly recent, and it's fueled by the internet and social media and several celebrities who have come out expressing sympathy for flat earth claims, including internet and TV personality Tila Tequila, rapper B.O.B., Boston Celtics player Kyrie Irving, and martial artist Eddie Bravo, who is well known as a regular guest on Joe Rogan's podcast. So why is this happening now in the age of the internet? Because of the internet, information dissemination is allowed to be a lot less top-down, less hierarchical, more peer-to-peer than it has ever been before. That's a good thing in many ways. People aren't turning as often, however, to encyclopedias or Barnes & Noble or the Science Channel, and instead they're going to YouTube or online forums or Facebook. For example, the US has seen a steep rise in atheism and secularism since the year 2000, especially among young people, and many social scientists have attributed this to the internet. People are talking to one another about these topics and getting more information from non-mainstream sources. Many of the messages we're receiving are not even ones we're seeking out. Think of all the theories and opinions you've been exposed to that you wouldn't have otherwise if it weren't for this ability through the internet for everyday people to bombard you with their ideas. Facebook posts, news article comments, automatic YouTube video suggestions, and all of that stuff. The world is getting smaller, figuratively, and people are able to access more ideas. It's almost like a new period of enlightenment where people are realizing that truth doesn't have to come from authority or unanimity, and a lot of good can come from that. That is a good thing. People can discover good and true ideas and facts that they didn't previously have access to. But the flip side of this, or the sort of dark side of it, is that this is also making a lot of nonsense readily available. So the dissemination of ideas like flat earth theories is also speeding up. Undoubtedly, one of the most obvious reasons people believe in flat earth is because most people don't have a working knowledge of the science and math that prove the earth is round. Most people who are not scientists tend to correctly trust people who are scientists and trust the scientific consensus by default, which is the whole point of there being a distinction between someone who is a scientist and someone who's not. But sometimes people, like flat earthers, misunderstand what science actually is and try to take things into their own hands. Flat earth theories simplify everything, and they don't require you to place your faith in the scientific establishment, which a flat earther might perceive as untrustworthy because of its power and elitism. The Flat Earth Society website actually says, quote, "The evidence for flat earth is derived from many different facets of science and philosophy. The simplest is by relying on one's own senses to discern the true nature of the world around us." Many flat earthers use this cop-out of, oh, I'm just asking questions, or I just want people to find things out for themselves. They'll say, do your own research. And they fail to realize that that's not how science works, and failing to realize how many other things they take on faith because they know it to be true only through experts who have done the actual work. What other established science is a lie covered up by conspiracy? The existence of atoms, photosynthesis. What I am sure draws many people into flat earth are the same things that draw many people to conspiracy theories. Social belonging among other people who believe in the conspiracy, as well as a need for meaning and control and feelings of safety in what is admittedly a complicated and chaotic world, a desire for groundedness. Some people compensate for that with conspiracy theories. And it feels good to say that you have knowledge that most of society lacks. It's a self-esteem boost, but it's also a kind of deluded narcissism. I don't know what the right approach is in dealing with flat earthers. Surely presenting the real science can be part of the solution, but appeals to authority probably won't convince many of them because a distrust of authority is what got them there to begin with. Others will argue we just shouldn't ridicule flat earthers because it will only further alienate and embolden them. Others say we should apply some social ridicule to the ideas and the subscribers of flat earth because you want to encourage embarrassment, because it should be a source of embarrassment in 2018 to believe that there's a flat earth. But in the end, ignoring them may actually be as good a solution as any. People aren't easily talked out of their beliefs, especially when reason isn't what brought them to those beliefs in the first place. And flat earth isn't as prevalent or as dangerous a scientific conspiracy theory as something like climate change denial, for example. I don't want to tempt fate, but I would feel comfortable assuming that the flat earth community will never grow beyond a tiny, marginalized group that is just a joke to everyone else in society. And prevention is the most important thing. Teach science, teach critical thinking. But maybe in some way we can actually be thankful to flat earthers. Pondering and debating their arguments is a great epistemological exercise that can reacquaint us with things that we might take for granted, like how and why science works and what justifies a belief on a base and fundamental level. If you want some great new ammo to use against the flat earthers on the internet, check out an awesome new online course offered by Caltech called The Science of the Solar System, or An Introduction to Physics offered by the University of Virginia. You can find these and thousands of other classes at class-central.com/Pakman. Class Central lets you take entire college courses online from top universities, whether you're interested in science and politics or philosophy and psychology. Tens of thousands of courses to choose from. You are bound to find something you like. Check it out, class-central.com/Pakman.